Okay, so we're going to go into the hives here today for the first time since we've put our new packages in this past week. So it's been about 5 or 6 days, and I've seen bees going into the hive with pollen attached to them that they're collecting. Keep in mind, we kept just the brood chambers on, and we have one other brood chamber that we had pulled off for the honey, and we are going to go ahead and now we're going to check the queen cage to make sure that the queen has come out of the cage and that she's in the hive and that she has laid eggs. So that's the plan. Once we do that, if that looks fine, then what we are going to do today is we're going to go ahead and remove the queen cage, and we're going to put on these queen extruders on top of the brood chamber. The brood chamber is where the queen will lay all of the eggs or the larvae that will grow into the baby bees. And by putting this on top of those hives, what will happen is the queen will not be able to get through these small openings here. All of the other bees, because they're somewhat smaller than the queen, can get through and go to the top, or the honey supers, and they can go in and draw out the comb and lay, or not lay, but put the honey in there. And then ideally we'll hopefully this year maybe be able to harvest honey. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But first thing, we're going to open the hive, check and make sure the queen's out of the cage. If she's out of the cage, we're going to remove the cage. We're going to check to make sure that she's been laying and see if we can't find her. Remember, we bought a marked queen, so she should be easier to find. And if that's the case, we'll put the queen extruder on, and then we'll put another hive box on with 10 frames. The frames are not drawn out yet. They have not been put on. And this would be the first set of our honey frames. So the bees will have to draw this out with wax and build it up so that they can then put in the honey into the honey supers. So that's the plan. I think that we have all of our gear here, so we're going to go ahead and go in. Mrs. Kelly has been kind enough and she's doing the videoing today. So here we go. Bit of smoke in there. Not a fast operation, but I'll call it a quick operation. You want to come in here pretty quickly. The least amount of time you're in here, I think most people would tell you, probably the better. So here's our inner cover. The dog should be shooed out of here. Okay, so that's our inner cover. Watch the dog, okay? And then here's the queen cage, okay? So I'm gonna look to make sure. It looks like there's a lot of bees around that. I normally don't go in on the center, but I'm gonna go in on the center this time because the queen cage is in there. And I'm gonna try to be careful to make sure that we don't injure the possibility if the queen is near or around that cage. So this is the plan. We used a rubber band on the queen cage so that we made sure that this cage stayed intact. So we're going to look here and see. Marshmallow's all gone, so we're going to go ahead and remove the cage. And I brought out a pair of scissors just to cut the rubber bands. I figured that would be the easiest thing to do, the least that we can bother the bees, the better. And you can see that the queen cage is still just basically stuck on there on the wax. Okay, so we're going to take the queen cage out.
Hold that up, Mike.
Yep, we're going to take the queen cage out, and there you can see on the end is where they ate through the marshmallow. So the hole is opened. There's a couple of attendants in there, and again, I do not see the queen, so we're going to continue to just, and I say quickly, look for the queen. She is a marked queen, so again, she should be relatively easy to see. We're looking to see if she's laid any eggs, and I don't see any eggs in here. It's a very active frame, but we're going to move to some other frames and see. Now I have to be careful because I'm trying to keep the frames in the same order that I got them in. So we're going to try to do that as best as possible. If we can do that. I'm going to work my way this way, I believe. And we'll see what we can come up with. Again, we're just looking to see if we see the queen and if we can see where she maybe laid some eggs. Okay, there's a lot of honey in here. May take a few minutes just till we can get in through and see, because there's a lot of bees in the bottom. And I'm just going to go pretty quickly here, because again, should be able to see her pretty easily. I'm going to put that one back in there. And I'm thinking that she may have went to the bottom, so I'm going to try to pull that bottom box off now. I've got these other frames that are over here, and I'm going to go ahead and set them to the side. Just like that, so that they're out of the way. That looks okay. Trying to find the queen here, and again, she's a marked queen, so there's a lot of activity down here. These frames were filled, not entirely, but almost entirely, with honey. And I believe the queen has probably come down into here. See, that frame is filled with honey. So we're looking for the queen or eggs. Move them if I can that way. It's not easy because they've got a lot of stuff in there. lots of pollen. That tool in your hand. So you're bringing back lots of pollen, but I'm not sure if you can tell from the video, but how noisy they are.
I think so.
Can you hear them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, we're looking for the queen. This is a plastic frame that we got with the nuke. I'm not sure. I do not see any larvae, to be honest with you. So, turn that off probably, and we'll just continue to go.